Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? This is Stay to the Point Radio on WFES 98.1. I am your host, Siah, and the one on the bottom below me is Sherri. It's been having internet problems for a couple of weeks or so. Then you got this one over here. This is Fuego Beats right there on the corner. And then you right here on my left side is Sean. We are Stay to the Point Radio. What's going on, everybody?
Hey y'all, hey.
Everybody good?
Oh yeah.
Everybody's
All
at peace.
is well, yes.
Okay, fam. Yo, Sherri, every time I see your background has always seemed like you've been just playing games all day.
Do you play games?
Do you even play games? You got some 3D stuff going on. I see the lasers shooting from the skies. What's going on over there?
There's no lasers.
I see it. You had the NASA going on your shirt. You look like you about to go to space. What's going on right now?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right.
So you ain't gaming?
You're not gaming?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Sad.
I was gonna say.
Okay. Whatever. All right, guys. Well, let's get into it. We on a time limit, so let's talk about it. Last Dance, Part 3 and Part 4. Well, there was a lot. Bad Boys versus the Bulls. I'm not even going to call them the Pistons. The Bad Boys versus the Bulls. Michael Jordan getting beat up left and right. Took him 3 years or so to finally, 3 or 4 years to actually finally beat the Pistons after getting the beat down. I think people took Isaiah Thomas like Isaiah Thomas is one of the greatest point guards, and people don't mention him enough.
Never.
So, I mean, the Pistons in general, just their mentality, they were one team. So they move as one. They like Voltron. It was crazy. Dennis Rodman coming in, one of the greatest rebounders. You got John Sally, a hell of a shooter for his size. You got Bill Laimbeer, which I didn't know he could shoot threes for a center.
Way back then for a big dude.
It was not known for centers to shoot threes. Plus, he was very undersized to be a center. You had Johnson. Johnson was a hell of a backup point guard. You had Joe Dumars. Oh, my God. I'm not even going to talk about Joe.
That's who would guard Jordan.
And that's who was guarding Jordan.
Right.
And he guarded him hell of a good. So I don't even know if that's a
was
word. But whatever.
It's a word today.
It is the word today. So how y'all feel about the Part 3 and Part 4? What did y'all learn? What is it that y'all didn't know and it was kind of surprising to y'all? Sherri?
Yo, your mic's on mute.
No, it's not.
It's not anymore. I put it on mute myself so that I don't over talk anybody. I don't know why you pick on me first. I have my notes here though, but I like to piggyback on people. You know that.
Okay, Sandra.
3 and 4. 3 and 4 was very entertaining. I do want to start off by saying, for anyone who's been watching this that does follow me on Facebook, I think Isaiah Thomas is an amazing point guard. Okay, but I did do my top 10 point guards, and I did not have him on the list initially, and I had to go back and apologize. I did. My dad checked me. You know, there were some people on my post that tried to check me, but when you come for a Sag and you like on some, this is stupid. You ain't gonna get nothing but fire. So if you gonna talk to me, you gotta come correct. You gotta come with respect. So yeah, my dad came with respect, and he was like, baby, I'm gonna need you to have Isaiah Thomas on that list. And I said, you know what, Dad? Okay, it honestly makes sense. So that's that. Just want to put that out there. So I mad respect to Isaiah Thomas, mad respect to Zeke. In terms of the Part 3 and 4, I loved it. One, because it showcased my favorite defender on the face of the planet to ever do it. No other is like the Worm. So I thoroughly enjoyed watching them talk about him and give him his props and talk about, the 97-98 season and him basically being the number 2 for a period of time when Pippen was going through his stuff. And how important he was, and just that backstory of the buy-in that he needed to get, and even me and my dad were talking about this the other day in terms of San Antonio, you know, all they had to do was tap in. They had gold, but they were so traditional in their little system, they couldn't get him. But just to see Phil go into like talking about the Indian, you know, commonalities they had, and just him going to Vegas, like I loved it. I really did. And I love the way, I want to say, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because some things are blurred. 3 and 4 also talked about Phil a lot too, right?
Yes.
So I really, that for me is huge. And anyone who knows me knows how much I talk about coaching, like especially ball dominant players. That is for me like the one thing that will always break my heart about Russell Westbrook, is he never had a coach that really got him in the type of dog he is in terms of that on ball, needing that ball, the ball dominant players. Those are different breed of players. And so I think Phil Jackson being able to get Jordan to buy into that triangle, and Jordan, much props to him, because the reason why he's one of the greatest is because he's different than, to me, a Westbrook or a Kobe. Those two people, I think, even if you get them to buy in, it will be like dragging them probably, because their IQ is not just different. Jordan have been, you know, basically playing one way with the ball in his hand, and then he gets Phil's telling him pretty much, you want to win rings or you want to be the scoring title champ. And he bought right in. He started trusting his teammates. And I just think that's really important to talk when we talk about leadership. That's a big part of leadership to me. We don't talk about that enough. Buying in, like not just you being out there being the best you can be, but you buying into someone else who has, you know, another skill set, coaching, that can show you how you can utilize your team and be a leader still, but trust your teammates. And I really think that's the reason why they got those rings.
So, Fuego, what you feel about the 3 and 4, bro?
No, I agree with the same thing. Like one of my favorite defenders, if not the favorite, is Dennis. Because that's all like he just did what he had to do. You know what I mean? I do agree. I go back to like what Chandra was just talking about when it came to ball dominant. One thing we got to consider is that Jordan, they were able to get Jordan a little earlier. You know what I mean? Plus, he was a little bit more mature. These other guys, Russell and all of them, were little, 19, 20 years old, and they're already the greatest. Jordan had been through, you're cut. You're Michael Jordan, but I don't care. That's your Michael Jordan. Like, so it went through that sort of thing. And then, like, I love Phil's way. Like, that is the type of even management style that I like. Mm-hmm. Some people don't get on that. You know what I mean? I think he had a lot of not that much success. You got to remember, too, like Kobe and them, they win the championship. Kobe winning championships at 21. I mean, he's young. You know what I'm saying? 22, stuff like that. So to be like, like Jordan and go through all of that and you're like, I got to win. It don't matter. I got to buy into that. So, yeah, shout out to MJ for just having that mentality that he could open up. But I just think it was really good to understand the what the Pistons did. You know what I mean? And like you said, bad boys and just how tough they were. I mean, they was coming at you. Like they was coming at you like a damn train. And you wasn't going to come in that paint. And you had to muscle up. And that's what the Bulls, they muscled up. You know what I mean? I do understand, and I'm not trying to take this away, but the Pistons were on the decline because they were getting older. I get that. But still, they still had a couple years and dominate if the Bulls didn't do what they did. So I thought it was great. I cannot wait till tomorrow because they're going to talk. I don't know what Horace Grant did, but he did something.
Right.
Because they about to hide, and they never talk about Horace at all.
So I think the Jordan rules kind of define why there's no I in team. Because of the fact that if it's one person that's the star role, they could dominate that. Like I think the Jordan rules was defined exactly. Okay, we already know where the ball is going to. Doug Collins, which was a hell of a coach, his mentality, like Sean was saying, was getting the ball to Michael. That's it. Everything else, there was really no plays.
That LeBron shit. That's what he's been doing his whole life. Get the ball to LeBron, go.
Give the ball to LeBron.
LeBron has the IQ to handle that. Give the ball to Westbrook, give the ball to Harden, y'all ain't getting no ring.
Yeah, you ain't never getting it back.
I'm just saying.
So like it really does define, the Jordan rules really define why there's no I in team, and it's really dope that that it took, like, all right, Phil Jackson to come in, for him to get molded to be the coach that he is right now, for him listening as a coach. Because, again, this refers to what I was talking about later is egos. I think egos was a heavy part of why Doug Collins got fired. He wasn't listening to his assistant coaches. He wasn't listening to the schemes, the triangle offense that his assistant coach was trying to embed it in him. And it's like, look, man, I think this will work. And he wasn't trying to hear it because of ego, thinking, hey, we winning. I don't care what it is. But at the end of the day, that you're ceiling. You made a ceiling for yourself. You made a ceiling for your team. So I think it's really dope with Phil Jackson coming in, Scottie Pippen, a cat that nobody ever heard of, but get picked in the first round, fifth pick from Central Arizona. Like
Arkansas.
Excuse me. That's even worse. So like from that to the Horace Grants, the John Paxson. John Paxson was already there, but with his little ass mustache looking like the Hitler. But whatever, like John Paxson was there. So it took a team, it took a development, the development of a team for it to help. And for Jerry to get what he got, again, egos. But he also was the mastermind behind building the team that he was. So shout out to Jerry too. He didn't deserve the hit that he got. I think he made bad decisions, but for him to get beat up like that in the media and by his players, that was terrible. I can honestly say Jerry did not deserve that.
Sherri, I know I can see on your face you want to go, so go. And I just want to make.
Go ahead, Sherri. Go in, girl.
No, it's it's not that I want to go. I'm listening. I agree with everything that has been said so far. I guess I'm not really disagreeing with you in regards to the Jerry Krause thing. I just think the biggest word that I heard you say the whole time was ego. Like in the 4 episodes that I've played so far, that's the number one thing I got from it, was like the ego aspect of it from everything and how it just altered like everything. Like, one person's decision. And I guess like I feel like with the Jerry Krause's approach to the whole thing, I just feel like management almost should kind of stay in management. I understand that management needs to exist, but when it comes to playing the game of basketball, or any game for that matter, any sport, you kind of have to stay out of it. And the thing with management, we've seen it with the Lakers, we've seen it, obviously with Chicago, we've seen it in a lot of places. When they get involved, things get messy. I found it, I don't know if you guys have already spoken about this because we kind of skipped the 3 and 4, so I feel like I missed something. But with the whole Scottie Pippen thing, that kind of bothered me, with him stats-wise being 1 and 2 and everything, and having, the 6th, being 6th in regards to salary for the Chicago Bulls. And like, what was it, like 121 or 122nd in the whole entire league?
122nd, I believe.
And
Matter
this
of
was...
fact, Luke Longley was making more money than him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There were 5 players on the Bulls making more money than him, and he was the number 2 player, literally probably in the whole history of basketball, the best number 2 player ever. You know what I'm saying?
It's his fault, though. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
No, it is. But
go ahead.
So, that's just, my opinion. I think that's kind of messed up. I think, 5 championships in, the fact that we're even trying to negotiate a salary from me and that you're not coming to me with a salary. I think, to me, when you say Jerry Krause didn't deserve that, he's a big part of that. Agents now are not like agents were back then. Agents now are much better than they used to be. But there's no reason why a player should be going after his salary like that when he shows up the way that Scottie Pippen showed up. That, to me, that was crazy. When I learned that fact, I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was, that was a big thing for me, what I noticed in all the stuff that we've seen so far. But I'll go ahead and let y'all continue going. I just wanted to piggyback on that ego thing, because that's like the number one thing that I've seen in this whole thing so far.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, the other point to that, because everybody knows Scottie is my favorite, to do it. That's my dude. But it shocked me. I don't know if it shocked you guys because, okay, so what, 97, 98, I'm about 14 years old, something like that. So I'm not watching, and we don't have social media. So we talk about, what I get out of this series, we talk so much about how players now, Scotty and them would have never said they were the greatest at anything, or they wouldn't. And Scotty said, yo, I'm one of the top players. He said all the things that everybody tells us that aren't said now. So I was shocked because I was with them. I was like, nah, man. They was humble. They put their head down. They grinded. Jordan said, if Phil don't play, I'm done.
Right.
The Krause came out and said, no more Phil Jackson in front of everybody. Like, where was I with these press conferences?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
So
Seriously.
Like, so now we gotta apologize. We gotta, and I'm gonna call my man Skip and all of them other dudes. Y'all sitting there lying because y'all sitting there and y'all are pioneers saying what they didn't do when you was covering them back then, like you always say. So now you sitting there lying to us and telling us that no. And so I was really surprised though that they were actually more vocal and said what they wanted to me than they are now.
Right.
Like usually you hear rumors. It's a rumor that, so and so wants to be traded because somebody's agent said it.
Right.
Nah, Pippen said, I'm good. I'm going to have my foot surgery when I want to because you ain't going to fuck up my summer.
Right.
Like, whoa. But,
and why,
so that's why
and why I say Pippen is kind of to blame for his contract. Pippen did not know his worth. He didn't know his worth. He signed a 7-year deal. Who signs a 7-year deal for, I don't know how much, I think it was 15 at that time, 15 million, 15, 14 million a year. I think towards the end of his contract, he was getting 3 point something million a deal. It was running out of his, contract. So, and they just won 2 championships. I actually, no, shit, I'm tripping. They just won 5. They won 5 championships and his contract was going low. So the more rings he was getting, the more money it was getting lower for him on his contract. So it's his fault. I mean, you did bad business. I don't know who his agent was. I don't think he had an agent, obviously. He was looking for a security blanket. He was like, look, I got a lot of people to take care of. I don't know if I'm going to have an injury later on. Let me go ahead and sign this contract for the 7 years. Nothing wrong with that. But understand, you can't complain when you sign it, after you sign it. Like, that's like me coming up and giving Sherri a contract. Hey, Sherri, I need you to sign this contract with Just Culture, 5-year deal, whatever the case is, for you to be my promoting manager. Now, Just Culture is making, I don't know, $100-some-odd million, and Sherri's at 50,000, 60,000 from the beginning. Now, me, a good-hearted guy, of course I would renegotiate Sherri's contract because obviously I want to keep my employees happy. But business automatically tells you, well, you signed a 7-year. You didn't finish your 7-year contract. So you can't be mad at Jerry for being the way he was because he said, hey, look, this is what you signed. It is what it is. Plus, I want to rebuild that.
Hey, go ahead, Sherri. Oh, damn, no. Don't say you froze.
She froze. No, she didn't. Just
no,
froze.
not with
Jerry,
Well, I'll say what I think. I'll say what I think.
Because I think she was going to say what you about to say.
I was going to say.
Go ahead. She's back.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's saying it's unstable though, so I might go out. But what I was about to say was, dang, I was about to go off too. What I was about to say was, dang, what was I about to say?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, so yes and no, right? Because you have a 7-year contract or whatever, and at the time that contract was done, that's what, you never know what somebody's potential is all the way. Just like, I don't know what Jordan's original contract was, but I'm sure he became more valuable as time went on. You know what I'm saying? At the time of renegotiation, he absolutely was more valuable. Like I said, you're talking about 5 championships in at this point.
Correct.
5.
Yeah.
There is no reason in the world why we should be disagreeing about what I'm worth at this point.
What that has to do with business?
No, that's bad business though.
That has nothing to
Because
do with bad business.
that's bad business.
Well, I'm gonna jump in real quick and say this. The reason I would agree with that would be bad business is because that's how you lose employees. That's
Correct.
And I've seen.
Correct.
I'm seeing it right now in my own, my own job. That when you start to, well, not in my specific agency, but in others, I see that when you don't treat your employees like what they're worth. So like if I'm right there, I'm new. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, 50,000. And you say I'm the promoting and I'm the brand manager. Now all of a sudden your brand explodes like Nike off my back too, of me doing stuff. Now you're worth 100 million. Now I'm like, yo, so what's up? Now my worth is more because you wouldn't have got there without me. And you tell me I'm still worth 50,000. I'm leaving Nike. I'm going to Adidas and I'm gonna blow them up next. So my Scotty's mind was then I'm leaving and I'm gonna show you.
That's your choice though. That's your choice though.
That
has nothing to do with business. That has nothing to do with business.
It is a choice.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it is his choice. Yes, we all have choices. That's another point that I had taken a note on too. Another thing that I got from this documentary so far. But it was a choice that he should have never been forced to take because he wanted to stay in Chicago.
Correct.
And because they weren't trying to pay him what he was worth is why that choice was even something of discussion.
Correct.
He didn't want it to be that way. And honestly, I'm sorry, it shouldn't have been that way. It should not have been that way especially Chicago, when Michael Jordan went to Chicago was begging for a freaking, what do you call it? You know what I'm talking.
Oh, she broke up again. It's all good. Sean, take it.
To say that franchise in it.
Go ahead, you got it. My bad, you back.
I'm back. Yeah. That franchise in itself was almost non-existent. I mean, they had indoor soccer or something that was out selling tickets. They went from some type of indoor sport. I can't remember.
Like T-ball championships in the middle of the floor.
Like nobody was going to Bulls games, and then all of a sudden their seats are selling out. So yes, he absolutely was worth more than what they were paying him. And there's no reason. I always tell people numbers don't lie. It's one of the absolute things that we can count on is a number. It's the same in every language. And there's no reason why he should have been bringing in number one and number two stats. Am I still there?
Yeah, you good.
Okay, number one and number two stats, but yet he had the number 6 salary on that team. That's ridiculous to me.
Sean,
and
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm just saying there's no conference room table I'm going to sit down at and have a discussion with you and look at the numbers and look at the championships and watch the games that I play in, and you tell me that I'm not worth more than this. That's crazy.
You're right. Go ahead, Sean. Take it.
Yeah, I agree with I agree with most of y'all at the different points. I understand, Siah, what you're saying in terms of it was what he signed. I don't want to use the term it's his fault. I just think he was misinformed and uneducated. And that happens to a lot of people. I watch a lot of documentaries, especially on music. And that happens all the time where there's someone extremely talented that writes their own stuff and does everything themselves, but they're uninformed, and they make poor decisions in signing something because they didn't know any better. I'm sure if anyone knew better, they'd do better, especially for what he contributed to Chicago. So I think it was just a matter of him not knowing, honestly, and not having anyone to advocate for him. I hope that people watching, now it's a different day. So I'm sure because of the Scottie Pippens and because of things like that is why people learn to advocate for themselves and not let themselves literally be on a team when you got 5 rings and you're making that type of money. And what I'll also say about Scottie, what I love, again, going back to Phil, is Phil didn't only make Jordan better, he made every player on the team better. Scottie evolved when Phil came into play. His game just took off and exploded. He already was great, but it went to a whole new level when he was able to utilize his skills more. And that's why, again, I'll stress that the documentary 3 and 4 just blew my mind. And I really hope that GMs and players are really paying attention to just such a simple decision as changing coaching, which could have been explosive in the wrong direction. Like being that Collins and MJ were so close. That could have blown up in their face. That could have been, but I will say for me, Jerry, that decision Jerry made is the most important decision out of that whole, everything else he did. It was to say, I'm going to fire this coach that's bonded with my best player, and I'm going to do what I feel is best for the team, because I don't think anyone else would have done it.
And see, and I agree. Look, this is my response to everybody. Like, honestly, yes, you are absolutely right. Scottie Pippen was a big part of why the Chicago Bulls got 5 rings. I'm not saying that he wasn't. I mean, it's understandable. Yes, you're supposed to re-sign this guy. It's obvious. Keep your employees happy. And this is what I was just saying before, and using that terminology of with the just culture and Dylan doing the deal with Sherri. But my thing about it is the fact that he signed that contract. You made a bad decision, period. Yes, he was misinformed. It's not the person that made that contract's fault for that. Diddy's been raping people left and right for a long time, but he's a mogul. Okay, like at the end of the day, you get these contracts. You get these 360 deals, right? Now, it's up to you if you sign it or not. Now, if you know your worth, you know you better than this, you're not going to sign a 7-year contract. You're going to say, you know what, I'd rather do 2, I'd rather do 3, and see what happens from there. I'm not going to jeopardize my life because you're signing to the military for 7 years. That's why I never did the military. Not for anything. I wasn't built for it. There's certain people that are built for it. It's like you know what you could do 2.
Or 4.
And what he picked, 7. You know, like I couldn't do 2. I couldn't even do 6 months.
It ain't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
No, I just don't know. The fear of not knowing. So he should have had the fear of not knowing. You know what? Let me take a 2-year deal. Let me take a 3-year deal. I'm going to sacrifice. That's what I'm going to do. And
but not to cut you off, I'm sorry. And I agree with you saying he should have been, but I guess it goes to what Chandra was saying when she was saying, being, undereducated in regards to stuff like that. And sometimes when you put a contract in front of someone's face, they're not thinking about the longevity of that contract. They're thinking about the immediate money or whatever that they're going to get from it, immediate gratification or whatever from the contract. They're not thinking, oh, this is going to be 7 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever the contract is. They're not thinking about tomorrow. They're thinking about right now. And when you have family to take care of, and even on a lower, like bringing up the military offers $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000, some $15,000 incentives to sign up. And people coming out of high school, that's a lot of money to a young person. Granted, he went to college, but he was still a young person with a lot of responsibility. I think he got like 12 siblings or something like that crazy. Parents. He comes from a little town in Arkansas. Like that's a lot of money to put in front of somebody, and you're not thinking about, okay, where will I be 7 years from now? A lot of people don't think that.
No doubt. I just want to say his last point on my side is that everybody has to stop thinking about these basketball players and these organizations like the NFL, MLB, all that's not a regular business. It's the same business as if you work in Target. So part of having a great organization is schooling your players on things, is giving them the knowledge that they need to have, and is doing that and including them in things and things of that nature so they don't make the mistake. Because what happened when we said it was a bad for business, and I agreed, was because I'm not saying this is why the Bulls franchise fell apart, but what if it was? Because it haven't done nothing since that season. Nothing that's credible. But, I would say Derrick Rose, yeah, that was good. But I'm talking about as soon as you get that image, like the New York Knicks, you're not going to want to go there. So you're going to be like, I'm a pass. No matter what MJ and them did, I'm a pass because if you have a vibe and it becomes like a virus. You know what I mean? That, not to, bring viruses up, but you know what I mean? So that it can bring down your business just as well. But I get what you're saying. So I think we all made valid.
And And the Lakers was getting that vibe too. I'm happy they got out of it this year, but they definitely were a place, honestly, when we talk about it, when we think about it, I mean, really since, I mean, yeah, I can't, it's been at least since 2011. And even with Kobe, honestly, when he won in 2009 and 10, he didn't have stars, but he didn't have a all-star beside him. To me, you know, I mean, I think he had,
Paul Gasol, Derek Fisher. I mean, I'm not saying. I think he had.
I mean, like on the level of. I mean, I'm talking about when you're. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a lot of teams have. A lot of teams have had. He didn't have that, and the franchise suffered really since then. Every year, I swear, free agency came and you'd be rolling your eyes because everyone say they're going to the Lakers. Nah, they're going to the Lakers. Nah, like I mean. You know, and LeBron, I really think was a big part of changing that. I don't even think it was Magic. Well, Magic got LeBron or whatever, but I think it was him coming, this the best player in the league at the time coming, which is what kind of made people kind of go, oh, it's okay to trust them now. And this year they did really well. I was looking forward to seeing them in the playoffs, you know. But back to Pippen also, I think, and I know we got to move on to the next subject. But I also think what we didn't mention is his loyalty. I think it definitely was about him getting paid, but I also think he loved Jordan. He believed in Jordan since that, you know, I think he knew that Jordan and felt Jordan was the best player in the world. And he wanted to ride with him and he wanted to ride with that team, especially him.
And likewise though, because even watching the documentary, you can kind of see between the Phil Jackson thing and the Scottie Pippen thing, you saw Jordan's interest in it decline as well. So I think it was a full circle of stuff. When something works, it works. You know what I'm saying? And when you start taking bits and pieces away from a complete puzzle, you start losing the picture. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happened there. He lost, I mean, any enthusiasm he did have to play. Like you don't have your guy, your go-to person there anymore.
All right, let's move on. I know Fuego, you want to go in, bro, but let's move on to the next. As a matter of fact, Sean, you started a segment. The Lakers. Lakers giving money back. What was it? $4.6 million back to the government. Now, Fuego had something he had to say, which was very interesting, and I really didn't think about that because I shouted out the Lakers. As you noticed, I shared it. I shared it with Sherri. Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Okay, because I don't, y'all all frozen right now, but it's cool.
No, yeah, we good. So I want Fuego to go ahead and speak on about the Lakers, how they even received that money in the first place.
Well, that's what I wanted to get on, because Sherri put a post up there that was perfect, like it was great, and there's no doubt charitable and all of that. My question. A lot of people were saying, well, this is why, you know, we mentioned how Walter said, this is why the government is this. Siah said this is crooked. So I wanted to say, well, let me see what's crooked about it. And I'm looking at it, and no, it literally says they have different requirements, right? So you have to actually apply for this.
Okay,
oh, no.
Okay, so I'm going to go off of, he's going to come back. Well, what he was saying was the Lakers had to apply for that amount or apply for the pigment check, the check anyway in the first place. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Am I back? Okay. Yeah, so they had to go and apply for it. So with that said, and again, the organization of the Lakers has always, you've never heard me say anything negative. I cannot say anything negative about them and Kobe. It don't matter what Kobe and the Lakers do. I just turn my head. I know that's grimy, but I literally never have nothing negative. So
okay, Trump supporters do it all the time.
Say it again.
I said Trump supporters do it all the time.
I know, right? My point with that is that they had to go and initially, and they knew they're millionaires. They didn't know it was going to run out. So they actually went for it, though. And then, but they did a good gesture when they said, oh, damn, this is running out for everybody else. Let me get that back. So that's good. But when everybody's talking about, you know, and I'm very much a conspiracy guy sometimes, but when attacking, like, you don't attack the government. We always say that is one of my homegirls, everything is not a sister soldier moment. Okay, so everything is not the government is bad, we got to storm the White House. It's not always that. Read and understand what this stuff is about before you go in and say whatever you say. So that's all I was really looking at that. So yes, they had to apply for it. A lot of people saying they're not a small business. That was only one requirement, because we all know a small business can't make over a certain amount of money, has to have 500 employees, all that sort of stuff right there. And we know the amount of money that a small business makes. I think the dude that just wipes or cleans the floor when the sweat's on there makes more than that. So it was multiple different requirements. So I'm like, does everybody understand? And did they do their research before they said that? I know what Sherri was saying. Yo, just kudos that they didn't keep that after they found out that it was becoming depleted. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and it's like, even if they did apply for it or whatever, it's recognizing that they may not need it in order to recover from this, like other people may need it, you know. And I think that that's the thing that, to me, like, I didn't know, like, I don't know who's issuing what, or if it was just a mistake. Like, I tried to read in about it to see if maybe it was just a mistake.
Applied for it.
Right.
So they did, but then they realized
Ruth Chris did the same thing and gave it back before they did.
Oh yeah, Ruth Chris. A lot of like pretty much a lot of major companies. Everybody went in, and what happens a lot of times too, people don't realize this. These bigger companies, as you know, they have teams ready to go. So, like, for instance, like my agency, we ready to go. We already put for CARES Act, but did for FB Media or did Just Culture, did we do that? Because we don't have that team that understands that legal. The legal aspects of it, we don't have that robust team, so we're learning, and we're gonna be slow to get that in. But these other people, they haven't been there and done that, not with a pandemic, but other disasters, Katrina, things like that, in New Orleans and other bad situations, earthquakes, fires, all kinds of stuff. They actually know the process, so they go and they apply for it early. So it's a first come, first serve. So if you have $300 million. And somebody's going and they say, I'm going for 5, and you actually deplete that, then there's going to be none left. But these bigger businesses, they just can go for it faster. And then, so it wasn't like a lot of people thought like it's a mistake. Like if you look in your bank account, now you got $20,000. No, it wasn't like that. They actually did want the relief to help pay their workers, not the players, but we talking about the janitors, the security, things like that. So they did that. But the good thing about it, like you guys were saying, is that once they figured out that there's other smaller businesses like that are needing it more, it's just like if you see that starving little boy, you want that extra piece of chicken, but the little boy didn't eat, you're gonna say, I don't have to be greedy. Go ahead and eat that, man. I already have my piece of chicken. Go ahead, you got that. That's what they end up doing.
Do you think it was so much that, or do you think it was a matter of people peeping these bigger companies getting it and them calling them out, and then they're saying, because I think that's different. The intention and the energy is different. Like, it's one thing when you take upon yourself, because if that's the case, it wouldn't apply in the first place. So it's one thing to take it upon yourself to.
I was gonna get there.
Okay.
No, I'm laughing because. So now, can y'all? We're gonna talk about this later, but can all of y'all that always jump on Fuego? Can y'all see that I'm not the only one that has the mentality in terms of you don't always have to look at it from either way. You always have to look for it bad or all good. Sometimes there's middle grounds and things. But yes, that's something that me and Siah talked about, is that yes, now you peep game and it's a blemish on them for them to take that. So it could be either way. You could look at it like, yo, this was a great, and and I wish Sherri went off. This is not really towards her or no specific person, but I do know people that are just so fan that it doesn't matter what they do, they're gonna look for the bright side, and people that hate are gonna look for the negative.
Yeah, and it don't even have to be a negative or a positive. I think for me, it's just intention, and so I think this has been happening for a very long time. I'm sure this has been going on for a long time, where they know pockets of money, they're educated, they know things like that, they're applying for it. Where these other small businesses who don't know necessarily aren't, or maybe they already took the money, so now the small business that doesn't get theirs because they've already gotten it. And so to me, it's just a matter of, like I said, intention. If I'm in a line to get a plate and I know that there's other people behind me that don't have, and I'm in that, and I go in that line still, and I get my plate, but then someone calls me out, and I say, oh, here, I'm sorry, here, you
Exactly.
here, you that to me is different than me standing back, letting everyone let everyone eat, get their food, and then me getting a plate after.
Or that person that videotapes him giving a homeless man some shoes. Oh, look at the good I'm doing. Look at the good I'm doing.
Yep.
That's another way of doing it. And I'm not saying that the Laker organization is doing this. Maybe there was a mistake. Maybe there was a fact that, oh, wait, we weren't trying to get this. Let's give it back. But the fact of the matter that somebody had to report it and say, hey, look, they gave it back, is either a shot to the government or they looking for a
look at me,
praise.
I'm doing good. Yes.
Yeah, they're looking for the praise. So I think it's one of the two. You know, I
social
don't think
media definitely changes the scope of things.
right.
It does, because you know what this would have been? This would have been like really bad for them if they took it. And whoever did take it as big, if they didn't, you're gonna hear about it. And that's the thing. And like you said, is the difference between a good gesture that why would you apply for if you're a multi-billion-dollar company? Why are you gonna go and even apply for it in the beginning? Because you know you got something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to, I don't know exactly all of their workers and their money, but if I would assume if most of the players gave up $2 million each, they may be able to cover that for these months, depending on what the salary, mind you. I don't know what everybody makes, of course, because this is working for the Lakers. Like, so that's my thing, that when everybody wants to just jump, like, calm down, let's look at this, let's do our research. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, I know Sean got to go. Sean, thank you so much, Mama, for coming on with us.
Of course.
I enjoyed it. Like, again, this is what I'm saying when it comes down to coming together like this, and it worked perfectly, hopefully we could do this again. Yeah, right. Hopefully we could do this again, and we could get into it, because I wanted to get into you flip-flopping, but we're not going to get into that.
God.
I told you. That's when you always going to attack us. But we'll wait till next week.
Sis, we'll wait.
I'll come back on to discuss that whenever y'all want.
Yeah, you flip-flopping. But whatever,
I don't flip-flop. Never that. Now, I may have an opinion. People don't realize about me is I can love something all day long but still call it out. I love my hometown. I love my home state. I love Florida to death. But Florida has done some real shady stuff. And I'll call it out. I'm not gonna be like, I love Florida and everything's right about Florida. Like, I just sometimes it's just about my truth.
I mean, sometimes, Allen Iverson is the greatest point guard. Sometimes, Isaiah Thomas is the greatest point guard. But at the end of the day,
definitely not Allen Iverson. He would never make my list. That ain't never happened.
Hey, don't disrespect Allen. Hey, don't disrespect Allen.
Not for me. Point guard and him ain't. The only reason I made a list is because he's the most athletic guard.
Okay, hold on. Let me get, all right, Sandra. All right, I'm going to make sure I go ahead and tag people on this comment that you just put on Allen Iverson, and then put it towards Virginia and see how many people coming your way.
Virginia, you know me now because they eat noodles out of the toilet. Somebody posted it. Now I'm in trouble with all Virginia. They're like, that's a lot.
That's New York. My top 10 point guard list. That's all I said.
Not even top 10? Ooh! Okay.
Oh, you said not top. Oh, I don't know.
Not top 10. Oh,
point guard?
That's why I say he is shooting guard to me. Because, like, you got to put Pistol Pete in that joint. You got to put Jerry West.
Right. I'm not saying top 10.
So you got to go back. You know what I'm saying?
But point guard? No, I don't even think about him.
Real mad, she got mad.
All right, I'm going to let you go before we go into it. Like, we get into it. All right, Sean, you have a great day,
All right.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. All right, bro. So we're going to go ahead and get into, as a matter of fact, we're going to pause it. And we're going to be right back we're going to go into our ego tripping. Men ego tripping.
As men.
As men. We're going to talk about it. Let's get it.
All right, Walter.
Child. Whatever, that's beautiful, man. Keep that. Keep going. Don't worry about it. Like, I'm good, bro. I'm good. And I hope you listening Like, I just want you to let you know, and Jay and everybody that had to do with back in the day, don't come and try to rekindle relationship with me at all. Okay? You weren't there to help. You weren't there when we were in a 1-bedroom apartment in Norfolk. You weren't helping.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.